Hi there, my name's Tom, and this is the weekly political video, and we've got a lot to go through. First, I'm going to start with media consumption, because this is important as you take in headlines right now. Watch out for headlines that include quotation marks. It's a pretty simple manipulation. See, news organizations look for sensationalism, especially this day and age, to drive up clicks, to increase viewership, which drives up their ad revenue stream. Remember, you are not their customer, you're their product. They offer you up to their customer, which is advertisers. So, why quotation marks? You see, a news organization that deliberately lies to its audience can be liable for defamation suits. The most famous large scale example would be, in recent memory, would be Fox News. In fact, the largest one ever, with the Dominion voting machine lawsuit. As a very quick recap, Fox News actually was the first to report that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. They called it before anybody else. And they were right, and that's normally a slam dunk for a major news network. Except they had audience backlash. And so they immediately began lying to their audience to save their ad revenue because money's more important. And they deliberately provided false information, not just from contributors, people who are not affiliated with the network, but their own network personnel were deliberately lying to the audience about the election. They had to settle that lawsuit for $750 million, and they fired their their biggest primetime host and the most popular one they had, Tucker Carlson. We can speculate all we want about it. My personal belief, it's because his text messages, he spelled out in writing that they were fully aware that they were lying to their audience and that they were doing it for money. The other part of it may have been Roger Ailes reestablishing who's really in charge at Fox News. And it's not any of the primetime hosts. So, yeah, the only hope they had there was to forfeit what in a non-presidential election cycle would be an entire year's worth of revenue for them. During the presidential election cycle years, that was maybe 3 to 4 months worth of their revenue. That's a staggering number. $750 million for lying. What happens if instead I'm providing you information that I know is wrong from somebody else, and I give you a direct quote from them? My headline is somebody else's direct quote. I'm not liable for that. I didn't say it. There you go. That's my shield. That's how you work with an easily manipulated base for money. And when you cultivate that fan base, well, you have to keep up with it or somebody else will take it, like Newsmax or OAN. So, you see a lot of quotes in the news headlines? Understand there's a manipulation going on. If you want to know why people are that subject to manipulation, you can check out yesterday's video. I will link it in the description in the comments. Now let's talk about Ukraine. Remember, war is a continuation of politics by extraordinary means or other means. So Ukraine has invaded Russia, which is really entertaining for me. And you might be thinking to yourself, understandably, why would Ukraine do that? They have no hope of winning, like conquering Ukraine. And frankly, I don't believe that's the point. See, Russia's actions are imperial. Even if they don't want to govern Ukraine, they're going to install a puppet government. That's basically colonialism. It's still an imperial action. Uh, Ukraine has invaded the Kursk region of Russia, and this forces Russia to allocate troops and equipment and strategists and so forth, and massive amounts of money away from the front inside of Ukraine. Number two, it's severely demoralizing to the Russian military and to the Russian population. Number three, population will be a lot less likely to support the Russian invasion of Ukraine when now suddenly the war is being fought on Russian soil. Now, again, it doesn't seem like Ukraine has any intention of trying to hold parts of Russia. It's just a matter of making Russia's war less palatable to its own people. Now, a very large number of Ukrainian troops are missing. I love these quotes. Okay, so is that true? Well, it's absolutely true in the sense that Russia has no idea where those troops are now, just that they've gone missing inside of Russian territory. And they have to spend time and resources trying to track them down. Do those troops even exist? Maybe. Does the number of missing Ukrainian troops, is that actually the correct number? Maybe. Are they actually lost? Almost certainly not, if they do exist. Now, why is this strike inside Russian soil different from other Ukrainian strikes in Russian soil? Well, the big difference is before, previous strikes inside Russian territory were by and large carried out by Russian citizens. Now, we can debate the semantics of who they are and who their loyalty is to all day long. It's not really worth it. That's just academia. The point is, that was not carried out by the Ukrainian army. This is. Those were actions of sabotage, guerrilla actions. This was a sustained and prolonged fight. Not at all guerrilla. Not at all sabotage. Though if those missing Ukrainian troops do actually exist, the sabotage and guerrilla fighting may start. And these would likely be special forces and not actual irregulars like guerrillas or militia. These would actually be professionals. All right, now let's take a look at Tim Walz, because we haven't really discussed him before, because he wasn't really relevant to any of my political videos before. People love him. He's a huge draw for independents and moderates. If they don't want the to deal with the, we'll say, more bizarre direction that the Republican Party has gone in over the years. While trying to find some form of attack that might damage him, well, they're trying to go with stolen valor, which is bizarre. It's one of those, it might sound legitimate to somebody who doesn't actually know anything about the military, but when somebody does, at least if they sit down and think about the nature of the attacks, they're like, okay, this is stupid. So they're saying he submitted his retirement paperwork because of a rumor that his unit might deploy to Afghanistan. I was enlisted in that time period. Every part of the military had a rumor going on. Number two, he was 25 years in. Most people retire at 20, 21, or 22 years in. Why? Well, 20, you're tired of dealing with the crap. Maybe you still love the job, so you stay on and you figure, well, as long as I'm getting assignments I like, I'll do it. But as the 21 and 22-year retirees happen, it's because, yeah, this job kind of sucks. You know, you look at the past, there's a bit of nostalgia protecting you from all the garbage you had to deal with, mentally. But now you don't have to deal with this. You can just go. You don't owe anything anymore. And so usually people don't even make it to 25 years. Um, yeah, he was the command master. What was it? Well, he was basically what in my service would have been called the command master chief. I think it's command sergeant major for his service, the army. Um, Now, he hadn't achieved that specific rank, so he's what we would have called frocked. He was a master sergeant who became a command sergeant major. And the phrase, he was only a master sergeant, came up. Okay, if you're trying to say somebody's only a master sergeant, you're really telling me you know absolutely nothing about what you're talking about. And when somebody is frocked into their position, basically they're going through the coursework, they already hold the job. Uh, you would be a fool to refer to that person to their previous rank. As far as you're concerned, they are the rank they hold. The only difference is their pay is just a little bit less. It's a dollar amount. You finish the courseware, you get the dollar amount. That's it. That's the only difference. As far as Master Sergeant goes, I think that's an E8. Now, weirdly, kids have been calling themselves the E4 Mafia or the non-coms or the Mafia of the military. No. E7 and above. That's the true Mafia of the military. They're the people who run everything. They run things more than a lot of commissioned officers do. So, yeah. They basically created a rumor based upon a rumor that they absolutely know would have existed, because in the military, rumors are what you do when you're bored. And being in the military is about 90% intense boredom and 10% of extreme excitement. All right, now let's talk about Donald Trump and how things have been going for him. So let's see, he made multiple racist attacks that didn't land well with Kamala Harris. The whole DEI hire thing, that didn't go over well. Certainly doesn't play well with independents and moderates. And admittedly, that's not like the people in white hoods level aggressive racism. No, that's more of the casual, I'm not racist, but racism. It's like, it's the insistence that the person's only there because of their race. Then there was the questioning his race, or questioning her race, because I guess a person's not allowed to be two races at the same time. And for some reason, that really plays well with both the white hood level racists and the casual passive racists. But we already knew he was a race baiting bigot. We knew that because of the attacks he leveled at members of Congress, like the Squad. And whatever your feelings are about the Squad, when you start telling people to go back where they come from, and nearly all of them were born here, yeah, we're in racist territory. Even if you do it in a sideways fashion to give yourself a semantics way to argue it, that's getting into the manipulative nature of the passive racists. For more information on how and why that kind of manipulation plays with people, again, watch yesterday's video. It's built into people from childhood in dysfunctional families. For whatever reason, people will say there's nothing wrong with what he did, while at the same time acknowledging Joe Biden's claim that if you vote for Trump, you're not black, is bad and racist. And it's like, yeah, that's getting into that passive racism again. And, it's like, okay, so and this is more of that manipulative behavior. If it's wrong for one person to do it, it's wrong for everybody to do it. That's how that works. There's a lot going on here. Let's see, his meltdown with the National Association of Black Journalists was spectacular. Just especially loved the image of his handlers coming out on stage and getting him out of there before he did more damage to himself. Why is Trump going off on these crazy and bizarre, because weird's just not good enough to describe it, diatribes? Well, he's not getting the headlines he wants. And he genuinely believes he's the only person who can fix it. He doesn't trust his own handlers anymore. He doesn't trust his press people anymore. He's going to do it himself. Except he's just only going to pay to the... he's only going to play to the easily manipulated. The people who, well, let's face it, they're the ones who were going to walk away from Fox News the moment Fox News stopped enabling their vision of the world. He needs those people. And that's really all he knows how to play to. He seems to genuinely believe MAGA makes up like 80% of the country, and the truth is they make up somewhere between 25 and 40% of the GOP. 20% of the GOP doesn't even want to vote for him, period. At least as far as polling goes. And admittedly, polling's not really reliable. Hasn't been since 2016. Wow, this has been long and rambly. I'm going to cut it off here. We've gone over the weird, bizarre craziness of Trump. We've gone over the nonsense, the only avenue of attack available against Tim Walz, because, well, it might actually work with people who don't know what the heck they're talking about. Gone over really impressive news with Ukraine. And remember, when a news organization's headlines involves a lot of quotation marks, they're being manipulative. They're trying to take advantage of you while trying to absolve themselves of liability. Because we all know what happened to Fox News for lying to its audience about the 2020 election. Like, share, subscribe. Have a great day.